Lando Norris opened practice in Abu Dhabi with a time that edged Max Verstappen by 0.08 of a second, an almost negligible gap that hinted at a tight weekend ahead. As track temperatures stabilized and conditions aligned with what drivers expect in qualifying, the separation widened dramatically. Norris increased his advantage to more than 0.3, a development that exposed Red Bull's difficulty in translating its setup adjustments into measurable performance. The second session carries far greater predictive value for qualifying pace, so the shift generated a noticeable ripple of concern inside the Red Bull garage. Oscar Piastri's disrupted day added complexity to McLaren's picture. The championship contender ceded his FP1 seat to Pato O'Ward for mandatory rookie running. When Piastri returned for FP2, the session was littered with inconsistencies and offline moments that confined him to 11th place. His uneven performance placed the competitive burden squarely on Norris, whose prior victory at Abu Dhabi marked him as a proven threat when track evolution works in McLaren's favor. The point situation adds strategic tension. Norris enjoys a 12-point advantage over Verstappen, which means that a pole position combined with an early race lead would force Red Bull to hope for a McLaren misstep. Recent precedents show that such scenarios are possible. McLaren experienced a double disqualification in Las Vegas and a baffling strategy blunder in Qatar. Even so, Red Bull has no appetite to rely on rival errors to stay in title contention. Helmut Marko attributed the FP2 deficit to setup experiments that failed to correct the RB21's persistent understeer, particularly in the slow 90-degree corners of Sector 3. Verstappen immediately reported an unresponsive front end along with light bouncing, both of which eroded confidence in the car's rotation. Red Bull often recovers from difficult Fridays, although this particular imbalance requires decisive overnight changes to restore competitiveness. There was speculation about whether Mercedes or Ferrari might influence McLaren's race through strategic interference or podium contention. Marko dismissed the idea, arguing that neither team displayed enough pace to threaten the front-running order. That assessment shifts Red Bull's focus toward tire management, the only significant variable remaining. Red Bull preserved an additional set of medium tires, while McLaren opted to protect a set of hards by avoiding them in FP2. Early long-run data suggested that Verstappen suffered more degradation on the mediums than Norris, driven by front-right graining that propagated across the front axle before affecting the rear tires. This pattern reflects the increasing understeer that the RB21 already struggles to contain. Pirelli predicts a one-stop race but acknowledges that two stops remain viable if degradation escalates under traffic or lower grip phases. The competitive narrative remains fluid, although momentum currently favors Norris. Piastri's lack of support complicates McLaren's strategic options, while Verstappen faces the task of recovering confidence in the sector that defines qualifying performance at this circuit. The margin is manageable, although the pressure on Red Bull to deliver a decisive overnight transformation has intensified.